Let's get into Cade Klubnik is more than the hype. Now, seriously here. He took over late in the fourth quarter, and I want to be honest here. Now, it's kind of hard to nitpick a game after that because they literally won. They beat the spread, 22 points, 22 and a half, depending on where you went. They beat the spread, and they covered almost single-handedly covered the over. So I think it was like 49 points. So, great job all around for the Tigers, albeit nationally, they're still getting a lot of, flack from the national media. A lot of people saying, the offense still doesn't look any better, which I completely disagree with. But talking about Cade Klubnik, I got to be honest because I don't think anybody has really said this yet. But when he came out in the fourth quarter, Al, we thought that he would come out and he would be out there, maybe second quarter, early third quarter. We thought that he would be used a lot earlier than the very last series of the game.
Right.
So that first threw me off. The second thing that threw me off, I want to get your comments on this. He was not really paired with like second stringers. I mean, he basically had a bunch of third string. He had second string offensive line, fourth string running back, third string tight end, and third string-ish wide receivers. So I was like, wow, this, I'm not saying that they were trying to set him up for failure or anything, but I just feel like, it was kind of the end of the game. It was kind of that mop-up time, right, as people like to say. But so at first I was like, what is Cade really going to be able to do with this? This is like the spring game lineup, right?
Sure.
But, man, that young man took that ball and went down the field. Wow. And scored a touchdown with ease. So my eyes was definitely big after that because I was like, wow, he did it, even though I felt like the odds were against him compared to what he was, what the roster that was out there.
Sure, yeah, and of course, when we predicted he would come in the second quarter, or maybe the early third quarter, I think we were both believing Clemson was going to be up by a little more than what they were at that time. Obviously, this was a close game going into the third, so they really had to kind of stick with what they were doing. But yeah, Cade had some things in my opinion, he needed to clean up. There were a couple of throws that I think he could have done better. Maybe one of them he might not even should have thrown, depending on who you ask. He ran a route to the sideline. He kept running, looking for somebody open. Eventually, he just threw it away, which was a smart play at that time. I honestly thought he was going to turn upfield and make a play. We've been hearing about how fast he is and how much he likes to run. Really thought he was going to, turn upfield for just a couple yards. He didn't need, I think it was, he needed 1 or 2 yards for the first down. But he looked really good, as you said, and he was with the third and fourth stringers, as you had already mentioned. I mean, that's impressive because we've seen that at Clemson before. We've seen them come in late in games. The play calling gets ultra conservative. They just want to hand the ball off and whatnot. And he came in. They let him make some plays. They opened up the playbook a little bit for him. It was awesome.
Now, a lot of people said, now let me go back to his stats. 4 for 6, 49 yards, 1 touchdown, and 94.6 QBR, according to ESPN. A lot of people said, well, it was mop-up time. He didn't have everybody. It was only one series. Don't get too excited about it. He wasn't playing any of the starters, which, by the way Georgia Tech does their starting lineup with above the line, below the line, who knows what their starters are. But if you look at the depth chart that Clemson released for both teams, number 88, starting defensive tackle, was on the field. Number 2, starting middle linebacker, was on the field. I'm talking during Cade Klubnik's drive. Number 7, starting cornerback. Number 2, starting cornerback. Number 4, starting free safety. So 5 out of 11 were on the field. Now, not the entire team. I understand that. Not the entire team. But that's definitely not the scrubs, the third, fourth stringer that some people on Twitter would make it to believe. He went out there, and I mean, that's 3 out of 4 in your secondary that were starters that were still out there, and he torched them. So I like what I see. Now, their motivation at the end of the game, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Well, I mean, I feel like if we're as a fan group having to say, well, it was against the second string, or it was this, that, or the other, we're trying to honestly put a handicap on how good his performance was. Look, there is no denying the eye test with this, that he looked incredible. Like, he looked like the 5-star, the guy that everybody wants him to be. And I think it's funny. There's several outlets that are like, look, he's not Trevor or he's not Deshaun. Of course he's not. It's one drive in one game. Trevor and Deshaun weren't Trevor and Deshaun in the first games they played in. Deshaun lost in a 45-21 drubbing in Athens, and Trevor, he had a pretty good day against Furman, and he was mixed in there as well. Different situations in each of those, but Cade just looked incredible, and there's no denying that. If you're denying that, you're denying the most important thing about a quarterback, and that's, well, I wouldn't say the most important, but one of the most important things is the eye test.